Neon lights on a midnight screen, voices rising from the in-between. Truth like thunder breaking the chains, broadcasts loud through the static and flames. From the shadows where the outcast came, built a kingdom, built a name. No suits, no scripts, no corporate lies, just fire in hearts and war in our eyes. Turn the dial, hear the battle cry, with a spark they can't deny. We are the M4 Empire, voices rising higher and higher. From the ashes we built this flame, now the whole world screams our name. Stand up, don't back down, we wear the truth like a crown. Through the storm, through the fire, we are the M4 Empire. We are the M4 Empire. Headlines burning like gasoline, fuel for the fight on every screen. They tried to bury what we would say, but the signal cut through anyway. From late night streams to the morning cast, every shot fired, every blast. A legion formed in the comment lines, an army built one voice at a time. Raise your hands, let the banners fly. This is our empire in the sky. We are the M4 Empire, voices rising higher and higher. From the ashes we built this flame, now the whole world screams our name. Stand up, don't back down, we wear the truth like a crown. Through the storm, through the fire, we are the M4 Empire. They said we'd never last, just a moment, just a flash. But empires aren't built overnight, they're forged in war and lit by fight. Every stream, every show, every voice that shows to grow. This isn't just a brand on air, it's a movement rising everywhere. We are the M4 Empire, hear the crowd lifting us higher. Through the noise, through the flame, now the whole world knows our name. Stand tall, don't you tire, we're climbing higher and higher. Through the storm, through the fire, we are the M4 Empire. We are the M4 Empire. Neon fades, but the signal stays, echoing loud through endless waves. From one voice to a choir's roar. Long live the M4 Empire!
Oh, what do you know? What do you say? M4 Empire. Marv, the movie monster Montanero here, donning the shades because it is going to be a epic show here today on the M4 Empire Newscast. Welcome to all of you. Guys, we are talking today about a very sensitive subject. We are talking about the fact that Hollywood, and specifically Variety, has signaled that we need race-segregated safe spaces now. So, Ebony Shield, activate. There you are. No, I'm kidding, guys. I had to bring in Kevin Apollo for this one. A lot of you guys have been saying, like, oh, where's Kevin? Where's Kevin? And I was like, this is a good opportunity because I know Kev has got a lot of really strong opinions on this, right, Kev?
I have a probably going to wind up being a 20-minute video breaking this whole thing down. So
you're working on that right now over for the House of Apollo, right?
Yeah. So I had to take a little pause because jumping on with you live was a little too important to skip out on. You
Mhm.
know, but next time too, when you activated Ebony Shield, do play the Dragon Dagger.
I have it behind me. I should just literally play it to make you rise from the ocean. Um, but yeah, before we get into that, Kev, we do have a couple super chats to get to, so let's get through those.
Nice.
Guys, we do take your super chats on the M4 Empire Newscast. Oh, am I frozen? There we go.
No, I see you. I
I
see
might be
you.
frozen. Okay, no, I'm not frozen. Okay. We do take your super chats here on the M4 Empire Newscast. This is a new thing that we've been doing. When there's news that's breaking that I don't really have enough time to do a full edited video on, we just go live for a little bit and talk to you guys about it, just kind of one-on-one. So Mark Fields, our good friend Mark Fields, checking in for $4.99. It's a good day to have a great day. Positive vibes to you all. Positive vibes to you, Mark Fields, and thank you for your continued support, man. It means a lot. And then we got you and Cumia for $1.99 saying tonight is Purim, so I'll be too drunk to chat. Oh, is that the drinky holiday?
I think so.
Okay. I would
That's
assume
like
so if he's going to be here drunk in chat. Of course, he's talking tonight about the M4 Empire Monday Night Block, which is the we have our members chat at 7:30, which is just an unplugged thing with me and the members. Then at 7 o'clock, I go I'm sorry. Then at 8 o'clock, I go live to talk to you guys a little bit about the news of the day, and then at 9 o'clock, we switch over to M4 Empire Gaming, where tonight I think we're going to be storming the Shinra building in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Nice.
So Wednesday, we're going to be doing the Resident Evil 2 in the dark playthrough. I didn't want to do Resident Evil 2 in the first couple of days that Resident Evil 9 was out, just because I thought it would be, I don't know, like I feel like it would get no attention because the Resident Evil fans are all focused on Resident Evil 9. So I figure give them a little time to get it out of their system. Let all the streamers that are playing the new game beat it, and then I can hop back in with Resident Evil 2 to capitalize on the fan momentum that's going. So we got to talk about this, Kev, because this is one of the more wild things I've heard in quite a while. Variety claims Black people need their own safe spaces after BAFTA's Tourette's incident. This is wild. This is a guest post on Variety.
Of course it was.
It was written. Yes. It was written by American Black Film Festival founder Jeff Friday, who framed the incident as evidence that even high-profile industry events can leave Black performers feeling exposed. However, the circumstances surrounding the BAFTAs moment were unusual, and by Friday's own admission, not rooted in malicious intent. And now, before we get into this, I just want to point out the elephant in the room that no one else seems to be pointing out, Kev. That the guy who founded the American Black Film Festival is saying that we need Black-only film spaces.
Bro, listen, this is the sole purpose for which Blacktivists exists.
Mm-hmm.
The
to make money off you, right?
That's it. I've said this many times. There is a very famous Booker T. Washington quote, which essentially says, "Beware the misery maker." You know, it talks specifically about people who make sure that old wounds stay open so that they can profit from it or retain power. That's all this is. Yes, without a shadow of a doubt, there was a time in this country where Black talent, no matter how fantastic they were at their vocation, would never be granted their due, or it would be in some way diminished, which is why these award ceremonies exist. However, their sheer existence at this point in time is more based on the fact that it's become tradition versus necessity. And now that we, especially now with after over a decade of DEI initiatives and affinity groups and all of their gobbledygook, a lot of this stuff is becoming redundant. So it's not needed. And when you realize that things aren't needed, that means people's money start getting hurt. And this is what this is. This is a shameless opportunist Christmas special.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what's funny is he's acknowledging that, quote, this was not necessarily a malicious act by the institution. I disagree. I think that the BAFTAs and the BBC 100% salivated.
Bro, you got it dead on. And because the other thing that Blacktivists love to do, activists in general, they know where their bread is buttered. So right now the mission is to protect the institution. We know what the BBC did. There was a choice here. They made it, and this is all about getting controversy to generate capital. and really essentially profiting off of misery, which is why I keep going back to this quote, because it is so vital to what is actually happening today.
Yeah, absolutely. Because so now Jonathan Davidson, another thing that we reported on that a lot of people kind of missed is that John Davidson admitted that at the BAFTAs, they sat him in front of a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
They knew this was going to happen. They then had 2 entire hours to edit this out. Now, they edited out him calling Alan Cumming a PDF file on the stream. They edited out somebody yelling about Palestine. They edited out a bunch of his other ticks. They left this one in because you know that the BBC is salivating at the idea of having a white guy yelling the N-word on live
Absolutely.
TV.
Listen, the N-word is the nuke, right? It is the slur. It's King Daddy when it comes to inciting incendiary topics. So yeah, they knew what they were doing. At the end of the day, anybody who's decent, let's frame this accordingly, right? The BBC is beyond beleaguered at this point, right? Half of Britons do not like the BBC. They feel it does not in any way represent their values. Its approval is strictly it's super polarized. If you are left, you approve of it. If you're right, you disagree with it. They don't have the ability to gleefully leech off of the British public anymore. So they're hemorrhaging money. They refuse to learn the lesson, and they need all the attention they can get. On top of the fact that in a year from now, they have to go to court with the Orange Man because of choices they made when editing a documentary. They don't have credibility.
The latest in a long list of people that have been effing around and are finding out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm saying right now, if we get a couple more news reports like the one we just got about 15, 20 minutes ago, this is going to be international of F around and find out, Mom.
Yeah. Why? What happened now?
Oh, the newly anointed Supreme Leader.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Like I saw that so every time they name one, he takes them out.
So Hezbollah was like, "We are getting involved."
Yep.
So right now, I don't know if I'm in Cuba right now. I'm like Ray Liotta at the end of Goodfellas. I'm just looking for the bomber.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! By the way, you and Q me for 199 saying that the BBC is worse than our media. I'm trying to pull that on the screen, but I'm having some computer issues, guys. That's why we started a little late. But yeah, there is the BBC is worse than our media. But I think so. At this point, it is. So Friday acknowledged subsequent reporting indicated the individual responsible is a Tourette's activist, John Davidson, that audience members in attendance had been warned ahead of time. Now, this was, of course, a disruption with medical context. The BAFTAs incident occurred during a presentation by Michael B. We all know. We all saw it. We all made fun of Grace Randolph over her reaction for it, so we can move on from that. But the Variety column acknowledges the complexity while still treating the moment as part of a larger pattern that affects Black artists in public cultural spaces. He writes, even at the highest levels of artistic celebration, Black people can still find themselves exposed. I'm sorry, exposed to a man with Tourette's? This was not an act of hatred or bigotry. This was a guy with a medical condition who, it basically is like sneezing.
Dude, listen. Again, I'm going to say this a lot. Blacktivists, the Blacktivist leftists, their power is derived from the ability to make sure someone is a victim. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan, right?
Yeah,
multimillionaires. At this point, as young as he is, Michael B. Jordan has attained icon status, not just because of his name, but he has attained icon status. Between the two of them, they have some almost 90 film credits, producer credits. Mm-hmm. Delroy Lindo has delivered theater monologues that are taught in actual acting classes. This is a man who, if you go, it's one of my favorite memes out there, was on a newscast, and the reporter started complaining. Well, started pontificating about the use of the N-word in music, and Delroy Lindo was like, Well, if you just want to say it, say it. I'll say it with you. Creating one of the greatest awkward news moments of all time. So to sit here and allow these two to have their legacies, their contributions, their statures diminished because of the use of 2 syllables, and it was done so involuntarily, it does not preserve their dignity. It strips their dignity. And you have to do that because this doesn't work unless you have a victim. I'm sorry, you're a multimillionaire. Just that alone tells you that something in the system works with you, not against you.
I mean, the thing that I said after it happened was, I was like, I can't believe that Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo didn't immediately release a statement being like, this gentleman has Tourette's. It's an unfortunate disease. Here's some information on what it does. This is not an act of hatred. This, blah, blah, all of that stuff. So instead, we get third-party reports that Michael B. Jordan was disgusted by it, and his family were in tears. And then you get Jamie Foxx going, he meant that shit. Like, I'm absolutely, like, I couldn't believe that they were out there trying to paint this. And so what's funny is British people are up in arms about this because so when I was on the HCast, Nate was telling us this guy, John Davidson, he is a national treasure in the UK. And that's why, like, Piers Morgan is livid at all of this. Like, if you watch the episode where Piers Morgan had that lady who has a PhD on
doctor,
the fake doctor that Gary called out on Piers Morgan, and Piers lambasted her for what she said about this guy.
And listen, Piers was 110% correct to do so. But and I laugh because where our UK brothers and sisters do get this right, our media has chosen to get this wrong. And there was never going to be a statement released by Michael B. Jordan or Delroy Lindo unless Denzel Washington was there. Because that means that they would have deviated from the playbook. You're not allowed to use common sense because right now the beleaguered American media in general, as it struggles with its indifference, increasing indifference, it needs this because it needs people upset. You can't activate the useful idiots unless you give them something to bark about. Never mind that they don't know what they're barking about. Never mind that their instructions probably came from a forwarded email that they have read. They just know that there's a brand new bad guy and we're going to scream about it.
Yep. Yeah, and I hate that Davidson actually, like, apparently he apologized. Like, I guess he reached out to Warner Brothers to apologize to the two of them, which Grace Randolph was like, fantastic. I'm like, yeah, great. You all bullied a disabled man into apologizing for having a disability. But in his statement, he also did say, I will never apologize for having Tourette's. I just apologize that people were made uncomfortable by it, which is the same as, like, you sneeze in the middle of dinner and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry. Which that's how I read it, because I mean, good Lord, the people out there that are acting like this was an intentional act of hatred. I mean, James All Day TV over here says for $2, the BBC is the CNN and MS Now of the UK. Oh, I agree. They're all rolled into one.
And the BBC has always been terrible. It just was not this terrible.
Yes. A Wild and Crazy Bear, member for 7 months, says the BBC gave us Jimmy Savile. I don't know who that is, but I assume you know.
Yeah, he's a UK. You could have a very lengthy conversation with Nate about him.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, so at the center of the argument is the role of culturally specific institutions within the entertainment industry. In the guest column, he pushes back on criticism of the term safe spaces, arguing the concept is frequently misunderstood. He said safe spaces are not about exclusion. Come on. They are about ensuring that celebration does not come with an asterisk. His column points to events and organizations such as the American Black Film Festival, the thing he started, ABFF Honors, NAACP Image Awards, Essence Black Women in Hollywood Awards Luncheon, AAFCA Awards, and the BET Awards as examples of what Friday describes as culturally grounded environments. According to the piece, these institutions exist not because Black artists are unwilling to compete globally, but because, in his view, recognition in mainstream spaces is at time proven inconsistent or fragile. I don't really think that's the case anymore after Oscars So White, after Jada Pinkett Smith took a blowtorch to the Oscars, and now we have to make sure that DEI is instituted in who acted the best that year.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, because I always laugh, right? Who is in control of communicating the stereotypes that still exist in modern pop culture? Who is in control of who wins the awards? It's not you, it's not me, it's not the average person going about their lives who have no issues with this kind of crap. It's certain people who are in charge, but it's also the same people who make the most amount of noise when it comes to stuff like this. This is manufactured drama at its finest. The
So,
at the
by the way, he also states here, and I wanted to bring this up because I think this is going to feed into your point, that black artists should still continue to win Oscars, BAFTAs, Emmys, and Golden Globes, but they should also have their own stuff too.
Yeah, of course. Well, again, this was needed, right? Like this was needed. As famous as Sammy Davis Jr. was, there was a time when they would not let Sammy Davis Jr. enter the front door with the rest of the Rat Pack, and it took Frank Sinatra flexing some muscle to make sure his friend was treated appropriately. At the same token, when Sammy Davis Jr. was invited to sing at JFK's inauguration, what happened? A certain group of people threw a hissy fit, and for the sake of securing everybody's safety, Sammy had to turn it down, right? This is the same mentality that we're seeing today, except the script has been flipped only because it's convenient to leverage the same kind of hate-filled mechanisms. So in this particular instance, right, black people can't win, but they have a win, but they're not allowed to enjoy the win. Meanwhile, I just came back from the Philippines. I was in one of the largest malls on the freaking planet, and as I was making my way upstairs, I went to this thing that was like a flea market, and everywhere I was, hip hop culture dominated fashion. It dominated the music. It dominated all the iconography. Muhammad Ali is posted everywhere, and I mean like 40-foot pictures of Muhammad Ali.
Oh well, so Thrilla in Manila.
Yeah, so black culture has permeated the greater societal lexicon. It is everywhere. It is anywhere. In the States, we can just go look. I thought the timing was great because Billy Corgan did an interview where he was talking about how in the mid to late 90s, there was an intentional push by MTV to diminish rock and elevate hip hop because rock was out. It is a hip hop world. You cannot be at the top of the culture, but also still have the ability to cry victim. Black people dominate arts and entertainment, sports, and have attained the highest levels of political power. At one point in time, and I'm not even talking about Obama. When you get to the end of the 90s and we're going to the 2000s, we're talking about the 2000 election, across party lines, people in this country were begging and then immediately lamenting that Colin Powell did not run. Under the Bush administration, 3 of the 4 most powerful people on the planet, not including the president, were black. One of them was a black female in Condoleezza Rice. Then you get the Obama administration. We like to ignore the fact that Trump has black people in strategic places too. But so it's like you can't keep using the talking points from the days of Woodrow Wilson, a man who, by the way, was allowed to attain victory mostly because black activists and the media created a situation for him to win because Taft and Roosevelt were too busy going at each other. But it was, hey, this is the guy who's going to be there for us. And they want to be electing the most virulent racist in the history of the world.
Oh, absolutely. He called Birth of a Nation, which is one of the worst films ever made, but it's taught in every film class because it was like this groundbreaking silent film. Is literally a story where the KKK are the good guys, and it's full of people in blackface, and then it ends with the KKK marching through the streets and Jesus Christ himself appearing on the screen to bless them. And Woodrow Wilson called it history writ with lightning, something that every man should take his boy to see. And I was just like, wow, okay, so we were just openly racist back then. Is this what people still think this country is? Because I grew up in the 90s, Kev, so did you. We didn't care.
This was This
We
was
were an
not
entire generation who did not care.
This was not an issue. This nonsense did not become an issue again until a few months after 2012. But this is why you also see problems with fatigue of certain groups and certain things, and this is desperation run amok, right? There is no story here, because the real story is a group of people made a choice to create a problem. They took this guy, John Davidson, and said he is an acceptable casualty because this is the perfect scapegoat. Then they took two other men, and Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan, and said these two are also acceptable casualties. They're going to be our veritable lambs to slaughter, because we're gonna milk this for all the money we can get.
So the actor awards were last night, formerly known as the SAG Awards,
Yes.
and Michael B. Jordan ended up winning the upset win for Sinners. He beat Timothy Olyphant, and everyone thought Timothy was going to win. Do you think they had to print out a new award to say Michael B. Jordan in the last week?
Oh, I'm sure, but that's how that always goes too, though.
Yeah.
Listen, no one, apart from the fact that no one really wants to see adult pretenders pat themselves in the back anymore.
Oh yeah.
We also understand that there is an inherent lack of merit when it comes to these awards, right? Like the best pictures do not win, the best actors do not win. And really, since Jada Pinkett threw her temper tantrum during a very opportune moment, we see the rules of the Oscars and in turn the other award ceremonies, which all silently go by the same rules. They all just follow suit.
Right.
So, yeah, sure, fine. Sinners is a fine film. I don't think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened, but it was a good film. So it's like, I don't know what to do with my hands at this point.
Yeah.
Because
I think that the thing that everyone points out when they hear about these safe spaces and stuff like that, which, by the way, Justin Duchy checking in for €249 says safe spaces reminds me of South Park. I did just listen to that song beforehand with the nothing can hurt me in my safe space, my safe space. But yeah, that's absolutely true. The one thing that everyone brings up when they start hearing about this is they're like, isn't that just segregation?
Yes.
And this has been happening now a lot lately, where like there is this push from from Black folks to reinstitute segregate. Like they want Black only dorms, they want Black only like social groups, Black only parties. Like I don't really understand like why you would want that again. Like I thought people fought so very hard to share space, to be one people, to be one American people. And in the 90s, it felt like we had achieved that. And now all of a sudden we're talking about race segregated spaces again.
I talk about this all the time. In my freshman year of college, I had the same professor for two different classes. One was a mass communications class. The other one was I think it was like ethics and civics or something like that. He was a first generation American of Hindu descent. And in the class, he said, your generation is the first generation of a post-racial society. And at the time, he was 100% correct. Again, I talk about people were lamenting that Colin Powell did not run. Again, hip hop was at the start of its ascension. If today we were to break down the top 10 America's dads, although yes, his behavior probably pull him off the list. Of the top 10, you're gonna see three names. You're gonna see Heathcliff Huxtable.
Yep.
You're gonna see Carl Winslow. You're going to see Phil Banks.
Yep.
And if you really want to stretch it and include movies, you may even get Roger Murtaugh on there.
Mm-hmm.
And not because of their skin color, but because these characters, they were the embodiment of patriarchal compassion, accountability, friendship. everything you want from a father, and had command of any situation, no matter how complicated it was.
Well,
So
I remember like never thinking of like Family Matters, for instance, as like a black show. I just remember thinking of it
there's
as
things,
just a
yeah,
show.
there's
And it was never hot. Like there were maybe one or two episodes where they did like a Black History episode, or they did the one episode about racism. But like other than that, like there wasn't really a lot of that going on. Then you have shows like Blackish, which is like, you know, a sitcom that actually can be very funny, but like it's a show that basically is literally about the fact that the family is black.
Well, again, and Blackish, I didn't finish Blackish. I dropped out of the last like 2 seasons. But what worked
I've
about
only seen a
Blackish
few
was,
episodes, to be fair, early episodes.
gotcha. What worked about Blackish was that yes, it did talk about someone's experience being a well-to-do suburban black person in a white environment, but it didn't dominate. Like you know, it was more centered around the family, and it's like but you would do funny things like you find out that the son is a black Republican, and then the family has to, you know, you talk about how black people don't respond well to Republicans, and then they do like a breakdown where the mom, where the grandmother is going all these things about how she hates Donald Trump, but then agrees with Donald Trump and everything, and then has to come to grips with, oh my God, I can't be, I'm not, you know, the or then like the black dude head nod. He's Anthony Anderson's character sees the son not do it to another black guy, and he gets upset. And then the episode ends where Junior is doing the head nod to geeks, and he goes, "Oh, I get it. Everybody has their tribe." So like it dealt with race honestly for the most part. Every once in a while there was one of those like, "Oh my God, stop it" episodes, but those were few and far between, at least at the start. But they must have did something right, because at one point in time they had like 4 spinoffs on at the same time.
Right.
So it's like we can talk about this stuff and do it honestly, and do it in a way where someone doesn't need to be a victim. Right now, you're getting people turned into victims because this is intentional. This is intentional, and it's for profit. Because right now, somewhere, some ignorant blue hair is pumping money into some organization's account, which is going to go straight towards putting a whack job into office somewhere.
Well, and didn't wasn't there just like a whole bunch of trouble because the heads of BLM were like living in these massive mansions?
Yeah.
And
Well, come on.
I didn't follow that story too closely, but
there was really nothing to follow. I'll put this as delicately as possible. A bunch of fat black Marxist lesbians were fleecing the public for every dime that they worth because they were too damn stupid to read a newspaper article about what was going on. And yes, that is as delicately as I can put that.
So the issue with Davidson has not ended. We just saw Dion Cole mocking him openly at the NAACP Awards, one of these, safe spaces. So from their safe spaces, they're lobbing grenades over the wall. Says, if there are any white men in the room with Tourette's, I advise you to tell them to read the room, Lord. It might not go the way they thinketh. Whatever medicine they on, they better double up on it, Lord. And then, of course, Jamie Foxx being like, man, you're funny AF. And, it's Piers Morgan, though, said, Hollywood continuing to mock John Davidson over his Tourette's condition is one of the most despicable things I've witnessed in a long time. Shame on Dion Cole and all those in the audience who laughed at his vile jokes. What the F is wrong with you? So then, Dion Cole said something about people need to learn how to take a joke. It's all in fun. And then Steph from My Nerdy Home and Geeks and Gamers, she retweeted that and she just wrote, nah, he meant that shit.
Mm-hmm. But that is you guys have heard me say it a billion times. If there's one thing the left is good at, it's at being a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. It is the very foundation upon which they exist, right? The wokeness at its very core is the very antithesis of the dream. The dream is rooted in merit. It is rooted in individual behavior. Again, it's what the content of character, not the color of your skin. Mm-hmm. Wokeness requires that you abandon evaluating people by their individual behavior and group them according to whatever identity-based qualifier you want to attach to them.
I mean,
Hollywood.
you told me in the past that's why they're starting to very subtly chip away at Dr. King.
Oh yeah, dude.
To try
I had it on the, I guess, the New Jersey equivalent of PBS, and on Martin Luther King Day, you had three black activists scream about how Martin Luther King was well, I can't remember how they put it, but was a white apologizer. I also noticed that this year I didn't see entirely too many people talking about Malcolm X. Now that people in Malcolm X's circle made it clear that Malcolm X voted for Barry Goldwater, which means that Malcolm X was a very hard conservative. So it's like you can do things. Well, again, like with the guy back here, right? Tom Sowell is one of the greatest minds of our time. He's an actual national treasure. He will not ever get his due because he discusses things honestly. He demands accountability in conversation, and he calls you out in your nonsense. And so again, big shocker that we went to a black award show and it's parroting every bit of leftist gobbledygook nonsense that's been put out there. Again, this is intentional because if someone wants to go after them for saying what they're saying, you two now get to go be a racist.
So, one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about on this newscast, actually, I just thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I was going to save it for Thursday, but while we're here, we might as well just talk about it. The fact that Scream 7 just ignited the box office after Tatiana Maslany attempted to institute a boycott of it. I said studios need to start hiring this lady to boycott their movies because it will be an instant hit. I had never seen a Scream movie until this week when Tatiana Maslany said, "Don't go see Scream 7." I was like, I'm going to watch all 6 of these movies this weekend and go see Scream 7. Like it lit a fire under me. So I have watched 1 through 4 now.
Nice.
In the last 2 days. And I am like ready to like keep going and to go watch more just because this woman told me not to.
I'll never forgive them for killing Cotton.
Oh no, yeah, I just saw that in 4. I was just like, oh man, come on. So right now, by the way, my order goes 1, 4, 2, 3.
That's fair.
Just seeing the first 4.
Yeah, out of the original trilogy, the third one is the weakest.
Well, they leaned really into comedy, like Jay and Silent Bob pop up. So like,
yeah, that will, and I'll say that movie is also very much a product of its time.
4 was so far ahead of its time. The whole thing about social media clout in 2011 and live streaming.
Yep. 4 predicted where things were going before people understood what was actually happening, and it doesn't get the love that it should because it was so ahead of its time.
I turned to my wife and I'm like, when was this made? Like, because I was like, were there even live streamers in 2011? Like, because those kids were live streaming with the headset thing.
I think FaceTime. Well, you could if you knew how, right? If you knew how, so like you had to have like a culture level knowledge of using the internet. You could do it. It didn't become widely accessible until FaceTime. But there were mechanisms for it. It just wasn't widely available.
Right.
But again, they, in a Vince McMahon-esque way, they were able to look at the technology and predict what was coming, and they nailed it. And just people just weren't really ready to go on that ride yet. But it's finally getting its due.
It's just amazing to me, though, that the Hollywood celebrity has absolutely no cultural significance anymore, because we've now hit this era where, first of all, we all know where they stood in the 2024 election, and we all saw what happened with that. And then now we're all seeing like they try to champion these causes, they try to boycott these things, and it never works.
Well, let's think about this, right? So, just a few months ago, we were all talking about how CBS had to announce to the public that it was going to broadcast the news and try to do so in a way that wasn't skewed solely leftist. what?
Well, I mean, that's what everyone is terrified is going to happen with CNN now. Now that now the Ellisons are getting Warner Brothers, you're going to see, CNN is apparently panicking, and
Well,
I'm sure a lot of people are panicking.
The best thing to happen to CNN would be if it re-embraced what Uncle Ted's vision was, which was it was grounded in classic liberalism. We're going to give you the news. We're going to give you the news, and we're going to complain about everybody. I don't think he ever foresaw it becoming the Clinton News Network, but even then, it was still willing to smash Bill Clinton really hard if the occasion called for it. Versus what we got following the 2004 election, where everybody decided to lose their damn mind. The again, to kind of bring this back to where we're at, like, listen, Scream 4, Scream with number 7, right?
7.
There's 8, 7. Scream 7. Well, what happened here? They, after the last 2 movies did okay, but the last one did not have Sydney in it. The writers decided to give you something that was for the fans. It's very fan centric. And the critics, of course, in a coordinated effort, panned it, right? But the fans like, no, this is awesome. Even if you're a more difficult to please fan, they've even gone, no, it's okay, it's pretty cool. No one has actually left this movie unhappy.
Yeah, so except for the critics, the shill access media critics who review bombed it into hell. And I can say that honestly because there's such a divide between what the actual viewing public is saying and what the critics did.
Yep.
And you gotta think, like, okay, all of a sudden now there's a movie that Hollywood wants you to boycott, and suddenly all the critics hate it. It's like a 30-something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
And yet nearly an 80%. I think it was like 78% in audience score.
Yep.
So clearly there's got to be something going on here.
Sorry, I was gonna say, but it's never review bombing when they do it.
Yes. Just like it's not racism when they do it. Just like it's not sexism when they do it. Just
it's always benign. It's benign.
Yeah.
It's the way it's framed now. If we're going to be honest about what they do, is it went from being you godless savages, get away from me, to you poor unfortunate souls, you can't function without me.
Yeah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. But I just thought it was really funny that movie made a gajillion dollars, and I'm going to try to see it before. I'm going to try to finish my watch through and see the movie before Thursday, because I know Trish has seen it.
Well,
and
listen,
so
I'll say this, right, because I do think it is important to give it that additional framing. What's her name? Maslany was screaming. Let's see. Yes, she did go on a anti-Israel tirade, but initially it was based off of the fact that the film had fired an actress for being pro-Palestine, which I always go, unless it has something to do with the content that you're producing, an actor should be allowed to do whatever the hell it is they want, as long as they're not running around in a Scream 7 shirt pretending that they're representing the brand.
Right. I think there was a social media clause in the contract from what I had heard.
Sure, which I get. And those clauses, morality clauses, social media clauses, have been on for a long time. So the fact that actors keep putting themselves in this position is baffling, because it's been almost 2 decades at this point. But I do think that it's kind of garbage that someone does get fired for it. But with that said, that's not an anti-Israel issue. That is a Hollywood issue, and your issue should be taken up with Hollywood. And these actors and actresses all do the same thing. No matter how loud I yell, I'm never going to yell about the actual problem. And the actual problem is the institution. Hollywood sets the rules. Hollywood, so I'll go back to Black Panther, right? The big, and I said the other day, as much as we want to try to pretend like Spawn didn't come first, the big thing about Black Panther is, well, this is the first time a black hero has been displayed, and he wasn't a drug dealer or a prisoner.
Blade.
Well, so I go, well, whose bleeping fault was that? I look at TV now, like you look at TV now, and apart from finding a competent male father figure in general, I'm pretty sure the last competent nuclear family driven father who happened to be black on TV was Damon Wayans from My Wife
Probably.
and Kids. I think that was it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Everybody else has been a drug dealer, a music mogul, or a celebrity with some kind of dark, twisted, effed up past. So you do this and you put this out every season and you have the ability to change it, but you haven't made the change, but you're still going to lecture people who do not have this problem, do not have an ounce of hate in their heart, like they're the bad guys. What?
It's ridiculously dumb. And Hollywood loves to wag the finger at these horrible things that happen while actively doing it themselves. I just saw that with Scream 3. I was sitting there texting Trish during Scream 3, and I'm like, wait a minute. This Milton guy is Harvey Weinstein. Everything that they're saying is Harvey Weinstein, and this movie was made by Miramax.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like literally, they're painting this as this evil thing, but this guy who made the movie is doing it.
Yep.
So it is just rampant hypocrisy. And I think we have finally. You know what? The one good thing that social media has given us is we always talk about it as it's a negative, that it exposed us to every thought of these vapid narcissists. I actually think that's a positive. I think that's a good thing because it showed us who these people are.
It's so true. Everything was very controlled. Very few actors actually responded to their actual mail. That went out the window a very long time ago. It was a publicist, or it was the publicist agency, or it was their assistant who did all the responding. If you sit down and you go on something like the Tonight Show, these interviews are very scripted. The talking points are very specific. The once they kind of got the green light in 2004 to deviate, but also parrot the talking points that they were given, social media came and they started giving these talking points without a freaking filter. And it comes out too fast and too furious for anybody to want to try to manage it, which is why you have these social media clauses now. But what are you going to do? There's always going to be 15 Mark Ruffalos.
Well, yeah, and for every 15 Mark Ruffalos, there's also a bunch of James Gunns who shot his mouth off way too hard at the beginning of social media and then almost paid the price for it if it wasn't for the fact that Chris Pratt was willing to go to bat for him.
I know. Well, I laugh too because everybody kind of forgets too. James Gunn posted on James Gunn account and forgot to switch to his burner account, so he called himself a genius.
Yeah, I was looking into that. The reason I didn't run with that is I'm like, I can't tell if this is real or not.
It was so long ago. It was like, I'm like, why is this coming up now? This was like two years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, because I remember when it first happened, because it was all around it was shortly after the Cavill catastrophe. And he was still trying to pretend like he wanted to be actively responding to people on Twitter before he decided to go hide in the toxic waste dump that is Threads. So we thought Blue Sky was bad.
Oh, Threads is terrible.
Threads is just the absolute worst.
Well, Threads is just, Mark Ruffalo and James Gunn, pretty much. Blue Sky attracted a much different crowd. You and Q, by the way, for $1.99 says Scream 7 was better than I thought it would be. Well, that's good to hear. I'm excited to see it. You and Kimi also said one that was off topic, so I saved it for when we were done talking about the stuff. Because off topic, Demolition Going in the Hall just announced. You know what's funny? I was just talking to Dis about this, and Dis said he's like, what if it wasn't the fact that like they came down on price? What if they were just like have the Undertaker call them? They're not going to say no to him. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
We know the problem wasn't Barry.
Oh no, yeah, the problem was always Axe. But yeah, no, they're both going in apparently. So here's one other thing I saw today that I wanted to discuss real quick. Rumored God of War spinoff will focus on Kratos' wife. That's what people want. That's what people want. They want Deborah Ann Wolf as Kratos' wife in a God of War game with no Kratos in it?
I don't.
So right now, Santa Monica Studios' big projects are going to be a God of War game about Kratos' wife and remaking 3 games that didn't need to be remade.
Wait. What?
Oh, they're remaking the original God of War trilogy.
Well, you know what? I'm of two minds about that because I understand why Capcom is continually remaking Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
It does serve as a quick entry point for newer fans. But at the same time, we don't really need this. The current story is so removed from the first 3 games that a quick cutscene brings you up to speed.
Well, so like, and they're not even using like the critically acclaimed guy that won the Game Awards and all that as Kratos. They're bringing back the OG voice, who I couldn't stand in the original games. And he was like, "Zeus, your son has returned."
Kyle from Living Single.
Yes, he's back. I mean, I will. He for the announcement, he did like the announcement. And he was like really energetic during it. And I was like, okay, he's happy about it. But
he was devastated when he was not. When he was no longer Kratos.
I think so too. But I mean, like, I couldn't imagine him doing that very grounded storyline. But I just, what makes you after the disaster that was Ghost of Yotai?
Oh, I was gonna say on Halo, bro. Like the Halo TV show was a lesson in whatnot. Or the Resident Evil. The Resident Evil show on Netflix is so awful that people don't even remember it
I didn't
existed.
know there was a Resident Evil show on Netflix.
Oh, it had nothing to do. It was Resident Evil in name only. Oh, are you frozen?
Oh my goodness!
Oh, there you are.
Hold on. Am I? I wanted to point out this one right here because Microsoft being Microsoft. So they just posted this in honor of Women's History Month with the Master Chief as Rosie the Riveter. Guess what they did? They turned off the replies.
Meanwhile, they should have done this the day Rosie the Riveter died. She died not too long ago.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh my Lord.
So it's like, what are you doing? but yeah. Oh God. There's so much to talk about with Microsoft. The new Xbox president is the person who has been single-handedly destroying Xbox.
Oh yeah, 100%. Reading Butler, by the way, says, "Wonder if they'll bring Kevin Sorbo back to voice Hercules." I wouldn't count on that, even though he should. Him being Hercules in God of War 3 was one of the best parts of God of War 3.
Yes, yeah. I haven't played it because I watched all the cutscenes on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what everybody does at this point. I mean, especially the last 2 games are so cinematic that you could very easily get away with just watching it as a thing. And then they released that picture of Kratos and Atreus for the new series, and everybody was like, "What is this?" Like, it looks fine. Like, the costumes are perfect, but like they don't look like them. Can't we say the same about Resident Evil movies with Mila Djokovic? Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course we can. Those movies are also terrible. That's just a very different kind of terrible. And during a time when studios did not want to honor the game or TV shows or comic books canon because they thought they could do it better. That's just its own separate pocket universe. The versus now when you get stuff, since not really the Dark Knight, but since Iron Man showed you that you could do a comic book adaptation that is true to the comic and make boatloads of money, there is officially no more excuse for how these things happen because we have still yet to get a comic accurate Batman movie.
I know. And we're not going to get it from James Gunn. I guarantee that. Speaking of which, James All Day brought up, who do you think replaces James Gunn if he leaves DC? Now, this has been, I had to just write an article about this, and I hated that I had to write an article about this because this is not a real thing. This is, what's his face? The YouTuber. Crap. What is, I just literally just wrote this article. John Campea.
Oh, Campia. Oh,
John
God.
Campia literally just said he thinks. Well, he didn't say he thinks. He says, I am 100% sure, based on no actual conversations, that James Gunn will leave DC once the Paramount deal goes through. Over political reasons. And I'm just like, man, like, why are we all reporting? I had to report on this just because it was a thing everybody was talking about. I'm like, why is anyone taking this seriously? It's a guy's opinion.
First of all, I'll say this. I'm glad you wrote that article because, frankly, John Campia should be taken to task anytime John Campia opens up his mouth. He used to be awesome back in the AMC theater days, and then when he went over to Collider, they all collectively lost their damn minds, especially after Schnepp died. But he says stuff like this all the time, and then actually gets like the "How dare you question me?" Let's be realistic about this. By the time the deal is approved, James Gunn's contract would be up for renewal anyway.
Right.
And
it's been renewed through 2027. I think it's going to take him through tomorrow.
So the contract will be up anyway. Superman, we can all admit, Superman grossly underperformed for what it should have been.
Ted Sarandos admitted it under oath to Congress.
Yep, it doesn't get much more damning than that, right?
And for everybody that's like, well, what does he know? He's the head of Netflix. They have to, during the negotiation process, both Paramount and Netflix, and to be honest, probably Universal as well, had to be given unrestricted access to the books.
Yes, there is a process during a mergers and acquisitions period called due diligence, where a team of people, including lawyers, get unrestricted access to all of your financials and all emails that relate to those financials. So they got the real numbers, the numbers that we will never see unless someone leaks some income statements and tax forms. To say that publicly, it told us everything we needed, because the speculation was fair enough, right? We could look at inflation versus butts and seats and do a comparison analysis and go, yeah, MOS made more money.
Yeah,
easily. Coming off of the heels of a really long absence and Superman Returns, whereas Man of Steel had a lot of goodwill energy going into it, especially the Marvel's James Gunn.
Plus MOS came out right around when superhero movies could do no wrong.
Yeah. Yep. So the Supergirl has no traction whatsoever. No one is talking about this movie at all.
I can't imagine a world where Supergirl makes more money than Superman. I can't.
I can't see it.
It's not going to happen. As to James's question though of who replaces him, I don't know. Not Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
But you know what? At this point, I think I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? Let him make his last 2 Justice League movies. Give him the money to do it. Let him do it. Put it out in theaters. Let's watch that money pour in for 8 hours of 2 movies.
Dude, I thought that I think it was I was freshly out of the hospital when the Snyder Cut hit, and I was like, listen, I understand the sentiment here, but there is no reason that any movie needs to be 6.5 hours long. I don't care.
Well, so at the point where that Icelandic lady was like sniffing Aquaman's sweater and singing a song, I was like, wow, we just left nothing on the cutting room floor, did we?
No. And then I laughed because, like, you went through all this and you just couldn't indulge in putting Jon Stewart in the freaking movie. Who cares?
For no reason. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense about this character being Jon Stewart the entire time. Like, I'm sorry, John Johns.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, that theory had been floating around from the beginning. It all comes to the scene where when he's in the interrogation room and he breaks the cuffs and walks to the wall, and he's just not phased at all. So like that was floating around for a little bit, but at the time people were like, there's no way they're ever going to use Martian Manhunter because these studios cannot fathom how to use Martian Manhunter. And unfortunately, Dwayne McDuffie was gone.
Yeah. Well, and then David Goyer with he'll never be called the Martian Manhunter, I'll tell you that much. Everybody was like,
I always wait, David Goyer.
And then they did it on Supergirl and it was fine.
Well, that was also pre-Berlanti being left to his own devices. We all know how that ended up. And no, I do not want to see a Taylor Sheridan Superman. He's not the guy.
No.
He's not the guy. I don't know who the guy is, in all honesty. But at the same time, too, I was yes, comic book movies. If you really want to break down, yes, comic book movies should be broken down by a studio head, but the studio head should have a team of directors who have a very specific vision on where the first arcs are going to go, and then you allow them the creative freedom to get there inside of the scope of the story, just like how regular comic book companies function. Marvel proper, they have editors who go, no, this is going to impact this book. No, this didn't work here. No, we already established this. Why don't you know this? That's what the editor's job used to be.
So there is was the point that I was about? Oh yeah, there's one man who I think could create the most amazing DC universe of all time, and that's Jeff Johns. But Cyborg got him canceled, so studios will never give him a chance again.
Well, Jeff Johns got done super dirty, because
during the Snyderverse, Johns was the guy in the room that kept going, "What?"
Yeah. Johns made two critical mistakes, right? Johns grossly overspent on the Frankensteinian monster that was the Whedon cut of Justice League. And I keep saying we don't actually know the extent of what Joss Whedon filmed because they didn't use most of it. When you sit down and when you see what they actually pulled from the Snyder cut, you're like, why did you just not release this movie? Why did you not just release a 2-hour version of this movie? Mm-hmm. Why did you butcher this? And then why did you pay Joss Whedon to film all this extra content if you were only going to use 10% of what he filmed? It just doesn't make sense.
I think if Henry Cavill had been allowed to shave his mustache, that movie would be looked on a little more favorably, just based on the Superman of it all. Because Superman is 10,000% better in the Joss Whedon cut. Now, and that, don't get me wrong, I love that scene from the Snyder cut when Superman comes in and wallops Steppenwolf, but I liked it better when he does it with the gentle smile on his face, the way Superman would.
Well, in the primary color suit, because Superman. Listen, I understand that people love the black Kryptonian healing suit, but that was a very specific suit, and you didn't get that in this movie. In that movie, but
if you're gonna use that suit, use it for the purpose that it was intended in. He comes back not at full power. He shows up to the final battle in that suit in the attempt to take in the radiation and repower himself. Yep. He actually has a pretty dire fight against Steppenwolf until that moment where he finally has enough power. And that's when Steppenwolf goes to hit him with the axe and it does nothing to him.
I kept saying, like, you could have had your cake and eaten it too, right? He shows up in a stupid suit. There's the fight. And then Batman does something that allows the sun to cut through the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And just when you think all hope is lost and Clark Kal-El is about to die again, that beam of sunlight hits him and then the axe shatters. How badass would that have been? How badass would that have been?
It's not hard.
No, it's not hard.
It's difficult.
If you have an ounce of imagination, you can break down some pretty badass comic movies, which is why the threat of AI is so terrifying to these people. Oh, by the way, so I was going to talk about this on Thursday. I was going to do a video on it, but I'm having fun with you. People are ignoring the most important part about Paramount winning this fight.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world where Batman Ninja Turtles should be the first freaking movie that gets put out.
I hadn't even thought of that.
If I honestly, I would be telling James Gunn, I don't need your stupid Batman movie. Go sit over there. I would pull Jim Lee into an office and go, I don't care what you do. The Ninja Turtles are now a part of the greater DC continuity. Figure it out. Figure it out. Sorry, Daredevil, but figure it out. Get Static back in here too. Mm-hmm. And we need a Batman Ninja Turtles movie by 2028, or you're all fired. Because that's how you reintroduce the Turtles. You use Batman to do it.
Oh, could you imagine? Could you imagine if we got live action Batman versus Shredder?
Yep.
Because that in the animated Batman versus Ninja Turtles movie, Batman versus Shredder is amazing.
Yes.
Both times it happens.
Yes.
Complete. Though I love Batman kicks the crap out of all 4 turtles at the same time. Oh man, you are 100% right. By the way, shout out to Real Life Fake Wizard out there in the chat. Him and I do a little show on Thursdays on both his channel and mine simultaneously called Culture Crossfire. So make sure you guys check that out 10:30 a.m. on Thursday. So, but yeah, man. All right, we are out of time. I gotta get back to work. I could sit here and riff on the DC universe with you for probably another hour. But yep. Oh, Uncultured Barbarian for $5 says, having recently read the comics that the Supergirl movie is based on, Gunn doesn't have the depth to do the story justice. No, he does not.
Oh, he does not. No, he does. And listen, and the story they picked is not one that fans like. I get it. Telling Supergirl stories a little difficult, but there was a very distinctly successful portion of Kara's life that has not been adapted, that should be adapted, which was where they well, even that, and I know that's probably a little too out there for them, but I was going to say the just before Crisis kicked off, they gave her a creative team, they sent her into space, and the headband era, you can retrofit the headband era to have her because they gave her supporting cast on Earth. You know, she was very much so struggling with being Supergirl and Linda, and then she goes into space and she has these awesome adventures, and like they got it right, and then they killed her.
Yeah. All right, guys, make sure you check out Kevin Apollo's channel, The House of Apollo. It is linked in the description of this video. He puts out some incredible and thought-provoking videos. You guys need to be checking it every single day. Make sure you subscribe to that channel, have the bell icon clicked so that you never miss a House of Apollo drop like I do. Also, guys, in the description, please subscribe to M4 Empire Gaming. We'll be going live tonight with the M4 Empire Monday Night Block. So that is a members only stream at 7:30, a regular stream here with just me at 8 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock we will go over to M4 Empire Gaming. We'll be playing a little bit more Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade tonight. Kev, thank you very much for joining me for this. This was a lot of fun, and we got to do this more often.
Awesome, man. Yeah, good seeing you, brother. I've missed you. I apologize. My schedule has just been,
I know,
so it's been soul crushing. So hopefully I've got some balance coming soon.
All right. Well, guys, from all of us here at the M4 Empire, I thank you for your attention, and we'll catch you in the next one.
They said we'd never last, just a moment, just a flash. But empires aren't built overnight, they're forged in war and lit by fight. Every street